this is the framework, and that is going to mortise into here. So I'm going to have tenons on these and mortises in here, the mortise being the hole. I've marked two marks. One is 2 centimetres from the top, the other one's 7 centimetres from the top. I'm going to turn my attention to these sections, which is effectively the frame. These have been cut to rough length, but because this is construction lumber, it's got a rounded profile. We need to get rid of that, and also we need to take out any kind of bow and get these all so these are exactly the same size, because the next process, which is going to be to cut the tenons on the end of this, will be reliant on the fact that this is all the same size stock. So that's what I need to do next. Tenon to be 3 centimetres, that this needs to be 101.5 centimetres long, and this needs to be 39.9 centimetres long. It's now time for me to put the 3 centimetre tenon on the end of this. And these are basically 2 standard blades, and then there's a little thin curved blade. Now we can afford to change the insert. So here's a 0 clearance insert, and this one fits into here. So here you can see that I've set the fence here, so it's 3 centimetres away from the outside of this blade here, and that is effectively going to select the shoulder on our tenon, and then the height that I raise the blade, and when I flip it over and cut it, this is actually going to determine the thickness. We just want to see if it actually fits in there, and it does. I know I've got the setup right. I'm just going to flip it around and do the same to this. In fact, I'm going to do the same to absolutely everything. So I've put a mark here, so I need to remove that. And I've got a mark there, and I need to remove that. Now this tenon won't necessarily be symmetrical in this respect, but it doesn't make any difference because you're never going to go and see it. It's now time to give it a little dry fit and see how she fits together. There's like a little bit of a gap down there, and I know you can't see the other side of it, but you can see that it looks tight there. Can you see that massive amount of light that we've got? Because we've got that, it means that the shoulder is butting up tight against here, leaving a gap here. This is my beloved number 4. All I really want to do is return this to something approaching flat. Okay, so that seems to have worked. Here's another example of what I'm talking about. You can clearly see that the shoulder of this is nice and tight here, but there's a gap there. And the reason being that if I exaggerate it, that is basically the shape of this supposed square. So after planing, you can see that's completely tight now. That's lovely. That's what we wanted. And that's the face that's going to show. So I want to reduce the height of these legs. So I've set a stop block up on my chop saw, and that means I can make the same repeatable cut for all 4 legs, and they'll be exactly the same height. Obviously, if you're going to stick a chair leg down, it's going to get moved around and you could fracture the edges. So you can clearly see here what I've done is I've just taken the off cut and I've put a little chamfer around it. Pretty happy with those chamfers, I like them. And I thought while the machine is set up, I might as well run all of these edges through. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and sand everything in preparation for the glue up. Choice of glues. Type on 2. And this stuff dries very rapidly. It's a warm day outside. It's probably, I don't know, 18, 20 degrees, which feels warm to me because I'm English and it's spring, so it's lovely. So I'm going for the Type Bond 3, which has got a longer drying time. And that's of critical importance because when you're putting something like this together, if you suddenly think, oh my God, I've put that inside out, you have actually got the chance to take it off. Whereas if you use the Type Bond 2, good luck with that one. So we're at the clamps, and I've laid the junky boards on top, and you can immediately see the problem that we're faced with. These are all crooked now, so even though I bought these boards, they all need to be jointed. So I finally got my first board nice and smooth and flat, and you can see by the state of the workshop just how much material was removed, and there's 2 more boards to go. Got 3 boards which are flat to the table and edge jointed as well. So I've taken it out of the clamps and I've sat it on top of the base, and it's got a really nice fit to it. But the next job now is to sort out the top and to make the top flat, and you can see the kind of challenges that that's going to give me. This is so warped. This board on the left, the one that we're looking at now, that one was jointed on both sides, which is why it looks okay, and then the others were just jointed on one side. So I've got my work cut out for me, and I've got to make everything smooth so it looks like the plank on the left hand side. Okay, so we're all done with the sanding for the moment, and we've got this nice and flat, and the next job is to clean up all these edges, and then what I want to do is get a hand router and put a chamfer on the very top and the very bottom, and also I want to round off the corners. These 3 screws here will get screwed into this side here, and then these 2 screws will go down, but they will only join into the central plank, just the central plank. The wood's expected to grow in this direction, but it's not expected to grow in that direction. I am going to put a single glue block along the side here with just 1 screw in, and that should allow that screw to just move as we expand and contract.